and I love them when she does them. So I've been meaning to do one for a while. But yeah, this is like just going to be, well, actually, first let me start off by saying that I hope it's going to be okay to film. I was not able to film this weekend, and because I do still live on a construction site, it can get a bit loud, but I believe this is typically when the builders take their lunch break and it's a little bit quieter. So I'm hoping it'll be okay just to film now. And also, don't take this video seriously, okay? I don't know my neighbors. This is all just like my first impressions of them. I mean, I moved into this house mid-January, so about 3 months ago, and I've met 2 of my neighbors literally once. I don't even remember all of their names. So this is just my first impressions of people and kind of what I think they're like, but I'm not judging anyone, and I am not, certain that this is how they are, or what they're doing, just, first impressions. So, as you probably know, I bought a new build, so, the first part of the development that I live in has 16 houses. There's 48 houses in total, but the others are still being built, hence why I still live on a construction site. That side is just all still being built. But there's 16 houses in total here. One is the show house, so nobody lives in the show house, and then the other 15 all have people living there now. Like a few weeks ago, when I was initially going to film this, a few houses were still unoccupied, but now every house has people living in it. So I will start with my next door neighbor. I just want to say as well, by the way, I'm a very nosy neighbor. I love keeping tabs on people, and I probably have the best house in the development to do that because my house is on a corner. I live on the corner of 2 streets, so there's the main road kind of. When you drive into the development, that's the longest and that will have the most houses on it. And then you have the first side street, and I live on the corner of the main road and the first side street, so I have the house that I can see most houses from. Like, aside from, like, my street has 6 houses on it, and I can only see my next door neighbors, but from the main road, so 6, so there's 10 houses currently occupied on the main road, I can see all of them, and I'm the only one, so I love that. So my next door neighbor, so she moved in. I did not see her move in. She moved in 2 days after Patty's Day. So Patty's Day was March 17th. So she moved in about a month ago now. She was here every day that week, and there was a van here every day that week too, but the van was always here morning until evening, and so was she. They didn't drive off and then come back, and I never saw them unloading stuff either. But first of all, I work from my office upstairs a lot, so I don't necessarily see what she's doing. But also, when I am in my living room watching TV, I'm sitting with my back facing the window, so unless I turn around and look, I don't really see it. And I do sometimes stand in front of my window, though I sometimes, no joke, crouch down so that I'm not obviously standing in front of my window, just so I can see what she's doing. But I try not to do that too much, so I didn't think she was moving in yet because she wasn't here on Patty's Day or the day she was back for a full day and then she stayed the night and has been living here since. So I was like, oh, I didn't see her move. I wasn't expecting her to live here yet. But she does. I know when I bought my house, the estate agent told me that the house next door was bought by a single lady around my age, so very similar situation to me. And I thought, okay, well, that can mean two things. Either she's very like me and I'll have a very quiet neighbor, or she has a big social life and will throw a lot of parties. It seems to be the first. I never see her, like, ever. I think I saw her, like, fully once, but I don't really know what she looks like. So she's very similar to me. She doesn't seem to leave her house very much. Her car is here Monday through Friday, nonstop. I never see her take her car out. I never see her leaving. Now, again, I do work from my office a bit, so it's not like I'm constantly keeping an eye on my office in the back of the house. So it's not like I'm keeping an eye on the front of the house all the time. But I do come downstairs regularly to get like something to drink or to take a break, and her car is always there. She drives away usually for a few hours on Saturday and Sunday, I'm guessing, to visit like her parents or something. But she rarely leaves her house, and she's very quiet. I sometimes hear her at night. I think when she's getting ready for bed, sometimes I hear like a couple of doors slam upstairs, but not usually for more than like 15 minutes. Like, she's very quiet, which I appreciate. I would have sucked, especially for ASMR videos, if I had a really loud neighbor, because in my previous house that happened. It was a very poorly insulated house, and I heard everything. I heard noises from like 2 doors down, and it was hard sometimes to sit and record a video when you would constantly hear, noise from neighbors at all hours of the day. And she's very quiet. It does just make me wonder a little bit if what she does. I mean, I'm quite certain she works from home, same as me, because I saw a van deliver office furniture a few weeks ago, and she is just always home. I wonder a little bit if she might suffer from anxiety like me, because a big part of the reason why I don't leave my house a lot is because I'm very often a little too anxious too. Again, that's improved a lot, but that very much was the case, and I still have that habit of, and I notice it after a few days of not leaving my house. I get anxious and I'm like, oh no, I have to go outside. But that was definitely a big part of the reason for me why I didn't. So I wonder a little bit if maybe she has the same. I don't know. My mom keeps saying you should go over and introduce yourself, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm not the person to just ring someone's doorbell. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm disturbing anyone. If I run into her while we're both on our driveways, then yeah, of course I will, but I'm not just gonna like go over and ring her doorbell. So, but I feel like so far I've lucked out. She's very quiet. Then the 3 houses. So we live in sections of 2. So 2 like semi-detached houses. So she lives attached to me, and then there's 2 more and 2 more in our street. The next 2 houses, so the 2 together in between us in the corner, I know nothing about. I have gone for walks every now and then to take a look around, but I have no idea who the people are that live there or what they're like. They moved in, I think maybe 1 or 2 weeks before my neighbor did, and just really don't know anything about them. Then the house next to that, I always thought they were like a middle-aged couple, but like more in like their mid-50s. But I did recently, when I walked past, see a high chair in the living room, like to feed a baby. Could be they've sure they don't have kids because we have a playground that my house overlooks, because my house overlooks everything. And I've only seen, I think, 2 houses with their kids on the playground. I haven't seen anyone else. So I don't think they have kids of their own. And like from what I've seen, I think they're slightly older than me. I will say this, there's one thing they do that really bothers me, and it shouldn't bother me. I think I'm just becoming an old biddy that's bothered by everything because it doesn't affect me personally, but it's a principle thing. At the end of the street, so right before the corner house is the very end, and then they live next to that, there's like a big half circle in the grass. So we have like a really big grass field with the playground on it, and then there's like a big half circle in it, which I believe, and I may be wrong, but I believe is there because our street is a dead-end street, so it's used for people who drive in and have to reverse their car to get back out. They park both their cars in that half circle all the time instead of parking it on their driveway. I get it, sometimes you want to keep your driveway clear because you have a better view of things. But that thing, as far as I know, is public property. Like, it's meant for people to turn their cars and not for them to park them in 24/7. Of course, I would then just turn around on their driveway if I needed to. But it kind of bothers me. I don't know why it bothers me, because again, it doesn't affect me. I don't ever drive to the end of the street. I just don't really understand why they feel the need to do that, to be honest. Like, we have pretty big driveways. You can just park your car in your driveway. And also, when I went out for a walk the first time, the lady from that house had also just gone out. She was walking along the playground onto the street, and I was walking around the houses, and she looked at me and then conspicuously bent down to tie her shoe, but she was taking a really long time while still constantly looking at me as if she thought I was a really sketchy person, like scoping out the houses. It was kind of bizarre because we get looky-loos all the time. I think on Saturday was the worst. I think on Saturday I counted 15 cars that just drive in, have a look around, and drive back out. So I get it. You want to be a little bit conscious, but she was really scoping me out. So yeah. And then on the corner, I think, is a guy living by himself. My mom thinks that. My mom said when she went for a walk, she just saw a guy by himself there. There's also only one car parked in the driveway, and there's typically always men's shirts hanging out to dry. Like, he has a big clothes rack that stands in his living room that he dries his clothes on, and they're pretty much always men's shirts, or they were always men's shirts. So my mom thinks that's a guy living by himself, but I can't say that I've seen him. No idea what he looks like or who he is. But I will say, if that's the case, then there's at least 4 houses that I know of that are bought by single people, which is insane in this climate. Like, that's quite a feat, I think, for everyone. Sorry, the postman just drove by. I hope my microphone doesn't pick that up too loudly. So that's my little side street. That's 6 houses. So then we go on to the main street. So on the corner, there's a couple with 2 small kids. I know their names, but I only know their names because the guy who installed my blinds installed their blinds the week before, and he told me about that and told me their names, but I haven't met them. And they seem really nice. They every now and then have their kids out on the playground. They have very little kids, though. I think their oldest is maybe 3 and their youngest is still, I don't even know if their youngest is walking yet. So, very small kids. And I don't really know much about them. The house next to that is a show house. And then next to that is a couple that I've met when I think the day after I moved in. My friend and I were going out to get some lunch and they were walking their baby. They have a very small baby. I think when they moved in, their baby might only have been a few weeks old, like a very, very small baby. They're super nice people. I believe he's Irish and she might be Polish or somewhere thereabouts, but they're super nice. I remember they lived there for a very long time without seemingly any furniture. We were talking about curtains and blinds, and I said, yeah, I don't have blinds yet. They can't come and install them for like another 3 weeks. And he laughed and said, oh, we haven't even looked at that yet. He said, my wife still had some old curtains lying around that we hung up with a rod in our bedroom, but we don't have curtains anywhere else. Now, from what I can tell, they do now, but I don't know if they're temporary or if they are like permanent, because what I will say is that every single house in this estate has roller blinds, including me. They have curtains. My neighbor has nothing. She still has those temporary paper blinds that just cover the whole window that you can't see through. But yeah, they have curtains, and I think they have some furniture now too. They seem to have a TV unit and a couch, but for weeks they just didn't. And I was saying this to my friends. I was like, it's kind of weird. And then they said, no, it's not. They said not everyone is in as fortunate a position as you that they can buy a house and have furniture at the same time. They said we lived off a free gifted couch that we hated for a year because we couldn't afford to buy our own furniture. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's a good point. I know. Because I remember thinking if my mortgage approval had been for a lower amount, like the amount that I was expecting to get, I would have had to live off my patio furniture for at least 1 or 2 months as well. So I get it. I know that not everyone can do that. But with a small baby, that's got to be really tough. But yeah, I think they look like they have furniture now, and they're really nice people. He actually works in a company that is located very close to where my company is located. And he works there with one of my other neighbors who I've met and had an actual decent chat with. But I'll talk about them in a bit. So then next to them, which is directly across the street from me, are the people who moved in last. I think they only officially moved in like 2 weeks ago. I think they got their keys really late. I got my keys. I picked them up early January, but I could have picked them up right before Christmas. I just wasn't in the country. But I closed before Christmas, and I think most people would have gotten their keys in January. But up until, I want to say, end of February or early March, there was a guy who works for the builder who kept parking his car on their driveway. And I'm pretty sure he's not allowed to do that once people get their keys, because they could show up at any moment and move stuff in. I think he was only allowed to park there because the people hadn't gotten their keys yet. And, there was no work done in the house. They had, still a complete concrete floor. The builder was still regularly going in and doing work. So I think I don't know if they came off a cancellation and just bought really late, or if they had some issues with the bank. I don't know, but they got their keys really late, I think. And then it took them like another month to get everything done in the house, getting a floor in, moving stuff in, but they live there now. Interestingly, I have zero idea what kind of people they are, because I saw them, I think, while they were moving, or just like, every now and then bringing stuff over. And they had what looked like two teenage kids, but I have since not seen the kids. I've seen them every now and then. But I haven't seen the kids, so I don't know if they have kids living in the house or not. I think they do, but I genuinely have no idea. I need to keep more of an eye on them, because sometimes I wonder if they actually live there, and then other times I think they do. Like, they're gone all day. Most people, I think, still work out of the house, so that's normal. But they're not always here in the evening either. So, like, I don't go to bed until about 11, and I very often don't see their car. But they have blinds, and I can see through the bedroom window that they have a bed, so I would think they live there. And I've seen them a lot, but maybe they don't live there yet. I don't know. I need to keep a better eye on them, I think, to suss that out. And then the house next to them is who I find the most interesting people, to be honest. I can see them the best. They're diagonally across from me, but when I'm sitting on my couch, I can see their house in full. They're what I call our posh couple. They look very posh to me. Again, that's not being judgmental. More power to them. They could be very, very nice people, but they are, I don't know, I just find they drive pretty fancy cars. He is always dressed in a suit or like a really fancy, like, trousers and sweater. When he comes home from work, he goes to work every day. And she's always dressed really nice. She's always dressed in like leather pants, or has like a big hat on, or she reminds me a little bit of like Alexis in Schitt's Creek. She's just very like fancy. And I don't know, I don't think she has a job, but I don't want to say that for sure. It's just she doesn't work outside of the house because she's home a lot, but at the same time she's not home enough to work from home. Like, she just came home there. I got up at 9, so she'd been gone. What is it now? Like around 1? Yeah, it's around 1. So she'd been gone around 4 hours, and then she's usually back for like 2 hours, and then she goes again for maybe 2 or 3 hours. So she's like in and out a lot, but not enough, I think, to have like a job either outside or inside the house. So I don't think she works. Not that that's important, but neighborhood gossip, I guess. That's just the impression I get. I also have the impression that they are around my age, have no kids, and don't seem to me like they're the kind of couple that want kids. I think they're the kind of couple that like their kind of leisurely life and want to keep it. They're always away at the weekend. They are very often away for the weekend, where they're not home Saturday night. So I think they have a good social life, and they'll like it that way. Watch them show up with a baby in a year, I could be completely wrong. That's just the impression I get of them. The only thing I will say about them that I find fascinating is their bedroom blinds are completely see-through. When the light is on in their bedroom, I can see everything. And I wondered, like, in the beginning, I thought they didn't know. And then I was like, well, if I can see them, surely they can see me. Like, they have to be able to see everything outside through their blinds. If I can see everything inside, so then wouldn't they know? And then there's been a few times, so the husband, usually comes home from work, changes into his gym clothes, and then goes to the gym. And I've seen him butt naked a couple of times, because the bedrooms in these houses are floor-to-ceiling windows. windows. I love that. They leave in so much light. But it means you always have to keep your blinds closed because everyone can see you. My bedroom window, my living room window, my kitchen window, pretty much every window can see their bedroom. So, but I am also, again, the only house because everyone else lives next to them or next to me, so no one else can see them. But people walking down the street would be able to see them. So I've had it a few times that I've seen him butt naked. And it's like I don't stare. But I'm sure you know yourself, when the light goes on somewhere, you automatically look. So I see movement and I look, and then I see him standing there butt naked, and then I go, oh no. But I can't believe that he doesn't know. I swear once I looked and he stared right back at me and didn't do anything. He didn't look embarrassed or go somewhere else. He just continued getting dressed. And once he even did it with the blinds half open, where literally it was just open window underneath, and didn't seem to care. So they are either completely oblivious to the fact that everyone can see them, or at least I can, or they know and they kind of love it, or love that they think they're good looking. I mean, they are pretty good looking people. It's just weird because even sometimes she goes to sleep at 9:30 and I see her lying in bed. I see her tossing and turning a little bit. It's only when he goes to bed and switches off the night light that I can't see them. But as soon as there's any light on, I can see them. And I barely slept for the first few weeks because I had no blinds and I was so uncomfortable that people could see me lying in my bed. And I did actually put sheets up in front of the window, but they weren't very helpful. So I just find them a very strange couple. But yeah, I don't know. At first I was I think I should ring their doorbell and tell them. But now I'm starting to get more and more the impression that they're aware. And I don't want to be that person then, so just leaving it. Then next to them is also a girl by herself. I think she's younger than me. I would estimate her early 30s. And she was the first one to move in. I remember when I de-snagged my house for the second time, so just before I signed off, so the day actually I signed off on it, to say that everything was okay. The foreman told me that she had just gotten her keys that day, and I could see she had laminate flooring, the rolls lying in the living room, and they were going to be installed the next week. So I think she lived there by herself before Christmas, which has got to be so creepy. The whole construction site was closed between Christmas and New Year's because the builder said to me, if you are back before New Year's and you need to be in the house, the gates will be locked, but here's the code to unlock the gates. And I was like, oh my god, this girl lived here by herself, having to use a lock for the gates for 3 weeks or so, just completely alone with nobody else on site. That would have really creeped me out if I had to do that. I think she does a hybrid working model. She seems to be fully away from home about 2 days a week, and then she works from home about 3 days a week. I see her office window is directly across from my office window, so I see her working from her office quite often. And while she bought the house by herself, I do think she has a boyfriend. I very often see a guy with a truck there from Friday evening until Sunday evening, but he's never there during the week, so keeping it cash, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, she seems really nice. And then the house next to them are the other couple I've met. They have 2 kids kids. They have kids actually. They have a 10-year-old and a 2-year-old, so like really big difference. I met them on the playground, so they were out on the playground with some really nice weather, with a very big group of people and a couple of kids, and I thought, oh great, a bunch of my neighbors are out. I'm gonna go walk over and introduce myself. But turns out it was just one of my neighbors, and they had family visiting, and they were all out there together. But they're really nice. She's Irish. I don't know if she's from here or if she's from a different county, because her mom definitely lives in a different county. She drives up regularly. And he's originally from Nigeria, but his father was a diplomat and they traveled a lot, so he's lived kind of everywhere. He's got a very interesting accent. He is so funny. Like, he's also a Manchester United supporter like me, so we bonded a lot over that. He's a really fun guy. She told me that they actually lived in Switzerland for his job up until last year. They bought this house kind of from a distance, or at least they expressed their interest from it from a distance. But well, yeah, no, actually, the way I understand it is they expressed their interest for it last year, like, or end of 2021, when I did as well, when they were still living in Switzerland. And then they moved back here. But their daughter was going to school here in, like, this part of town, but they couldn't get a house here. But they always knew they wanted to live on this side of town, so they kept their daughter in school here. And then they moved to a completely different part of town, which is like a 40-minute commute every morning. So they were desperate to get a house here, and they eventually did. They also came off a cancellation list, and they got a pick of 2 houses. So at least 3 houses, including mine, were from a cancellation list, and I kind of have the feeling that people across the street were as well. So if you're trying to buy a house and everything's always sold out, put yourself on a cancellation list. Like, quite a few more cancellations come through than I realized. But yeah, they're super fun and super nice. They regularly have her family over, and always a really big group of people. But they're like not loud or anything like that. And he works from home full time as well, for the same company as the guy I was talking about in the other house. They work for the same company, except that guy does go to the office, I think, every day, and he works from home full time. But that's the same with my company. Not everyone in my company is allowed to work from home. It just depends what job you do. Ooh, I don't know if you can hear that. That's my neighbor making some noise. I think I saw an older man just pull up in a truck, so I think her dad might have arrived and just slammed the front door or something. I don't know. Heard something there. And then the house next to theirs, I also don't know too much about. I know that they have at least one small child. And that they moved in, like, I don't know, maybe also just like a month and a half ago. They were quite late. When I walked past their house, they still didn't have a floor and all that, but they do live there now. And also seem to be home all the time. Their car is also parked there all day long, and I see her going for a walk with the little one quite often. So I think most of these houses have at least someone home all day long. But I guess that's the new norm. A lot of people work from home. So yeah, I think that's kind of it. I am gonna, keep an eye on my neighbors and see if I can make these videos maybe once a month with some updates. I'm really gonna have to introduce myself to some people, because I know very, very little. This is all just first impressions of people. But a few of them seem to be, well, actually most of them seem to be my age, to be honest. Some with kids, some without. But aside from that one couple who I think are older, but I'm not even sure, I think most of them are around my age, so it would be nice to just, get to know them a little bit better. But that's kind of it. As I said, I still live on a construction site, which is fine most of the time. They start at 7 a.m. every morning. I'm trying to get up at 7, but I'm failing miserably. I think this week I'm going to do 9. Next week I'm going to do 8. And the week after I'll do 7. I had family here for a week as well, so it just kind of messed up my sleep schedule. But my earplugs tend to cut out most of the construction noise. There are some that come through, but for the most part I can sleep through it. But like this morning, they were cutting the grass of the communal areas, and it took like 2 hours, and they started 8. Again, maybe this is just the old biddy in me, but I'm like, why isn't 8 too early? Like, is it that strange that people sleep until 9? But it must be, because when I open my blinds at 9, literally everyone's already gone. Or has their blinds open. I do think I'm the last person to wake up in this estate. But, I can't, my earplugs don't cut that out. A lawnmower doesn't cut it out. So I was pretty much kind of awake at 8 this morning, but refused to get up. But yeah, it's gonna be a long road. They're gonna be building these houses until about end of the year, I think. But no biggie. I love it here. It's a really beautiful place. My family loved the house and loved the environment, so I will take it with whatever it comes with. So that was it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.